Welcome to the Caregiver podcast. I'm Inga.
And I'm Julie.
And long story short, we have Caregiver. We are two momtrepreneurs who have built an in-home care business from the ground up, guided every step of the way by God's care and fueled by agape love. Almost 14 years later, we felt called to create this podcast as a resource for families with caregiving needs. Whether you care for a family member or are looking for advice on professional caregiving, we want this to be a platform to support you.
Each week, we will come to you with encouraging stories of families who have found the right balance for their loved ones, tips for how to care for them and you, and much more. We hope you continue to join us each week as we share in this exciting new journey together.
Hello, Sunshines, and hello, Julie.
Well, hello, Inga.
How is you?
I am well.
Nice.
I'm good.
What's been a blessing to you lately?
Oh, let's see. Well, I actually played hooky yesterday. And it's because of my wonderful office peeps that have my back that let me have the day off. And I went and spent a glorious day with my mama.
Oh, that is so awesome. I saw the pictures.
Yes.
Looks good.
Yeah, we actually took they've got a side-by-side and mother, she is hell on wheels. She just puts the metal down in the picture of us. Truly, we look like Thelma and Louise. But if you look at the picture, even her bangs are flipped up like that. And I've got a look of, I was trying to be cool. Not scary at all, mother.
That's how I felt riding with Sammy in Tennessee. Oh my God. No, just kidding. My blessing is actually, I never in my life been so excited that the plane was late and I had to be rebooked to the next day.
Oh, wow.
So got to go. Same thing. Office peeps are awesome. They cover my bacon so that I could go visit Sammy in Tennessee. Oh. My first visit to Tennessee as an adult. And I learned that, I think we were talking a little bit earlier, I don't know how to honky tonk. I really want to, but it's very overwhelming to me. So we did get to go down on Broadway Street and wow, just amazing. Very, very cool. But I'll have to practice and try harder next time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I think I've got a big trip coming up. And so I'm slowly having to stay up a little bit later every night so at 9 o'clock, I don't just zonk out.
Right. I know every night that we were there, 8 o'clock, we're getting ready to go out and do something. Right. I'm talking to Kevin back home and he's like, what? It does not compute. You're just getting ready to go. Yeah. Normally I'd be in bed for sure. But that was a blessing. Oh. Delta Airlines, they treated me very nicely, and shout out to Delta. So yes, they were late and it turned into me getting to spend an extra day. That was a blessing.
Cool. Yes, actually. And Sammy was blessed too.
Yes, for sure.
That's awesome.
Coolio. Well, you came to us, or I'm not sure if it came in from one of our listeners, or anyway, you have a verse that you were going to share with us. So
yes, and I actually have to pull it up on the old cell phone because my printer decided that it didn't want to behave.
Oh, that'll happen.
So anyway, I'm going to find our
get your readers on
submission.
Get organized.
So this submission is actually Colossians 4, 5, and 6. And it says, make the most of every opportunity. Let your conversation be always full of grace, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how to answer everyone.
Oh.
So I had to say, well, exactly what does that mean? Because I'm salty all the time. And is that a good thing or a bad thing, right? So it says, thoughts on today's verse is there are no random acts of kindness, only intentional acts given the opportunity to happen. We have thought about kindness we can do. We have committed ourselves to acting in ways that are kind and beneficial. We have prayed for an opportunity to be kind. Then the opportunity presents itself and bingo, we act with kindness. Nothing random about that. This is true not just in deeds, but in words as well. More than trying to avoid poor speech, we are urged to use our speech to bless and help others to come to know Christ.
Oh,
so that was the meaning.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Very well done. Well, moving right into our uplifting stories, I have to tell you about Miss Phyllis Sprinkerhoff. Miss Phyllis Sprinkerhoff.
Wait.
What?
Wait a minute. I can't even get over this. I can't.
Oh, no. Did you do the same story? No way.
The Hokey Pokey.
Yes.
You picked the same story as me.
No way.
Phyllis Sprinkerhoff.
Also, Phyllis Sprinkerhoff. Okay. This is great. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, Phyllis, she's 93 years old. She's from Prairie Village, Kansas, and she absolutely loves the Hokey Pokey. Like, cannot believe it if people don't love the Hokey Pokey. It's like her favorite thing because she says that it's fun and it's joyous. And recently she had given her neighbor Melanie a CD with the Hokey Pokey song on it. Then Phyllis would regularly check in with Melanie to ask if she was a fan of the Hokey Pokey yet. And Melanie would just say, not quite yet. But anyway, Melanie had something up her sleeve because basically what she did is she got the whole neighborhood in on a plan for Phyllis's birthday to actually do the Hokey Pokey out front of her home. Oh. So basically it was like a flash mob of all these people that gathered together on Phyllis's lawn and performed the Hokey Pokey. And of course she joined in too. So I guess the smile on her face was just incredible. And it just makes you realize that it doesn't take a lot to make somebody's day, but that was very important to Phyllis, and Melanie sure took it and did a great job with it. And high five to you for
air high,
coming up with the same story.
Weird. How weird are you? And I just wanted to say her last name. It's pretty darn cool. Sprinkerhoff.
It's fun to say.
But I was cute to play the Hokey Pokey.
I know. Good job. Yeah, that was awesome. Good job.
Okay, well, so now I don't have an inspiring story, so let's get on with business.
Okay. Well, okay. So the topic of today is home safety.
Yes.
And basically the importance of trying to keep your home as safe as possible to help prevent any, I guess, preventable accidents, right?
Yes.
So when we go out and do a home visit, Julie, we actually have a form that we take with us, and it's titled the home safety inspection. So, talk us through that. Walk us through what you do with this, or I've used it on occasion. Every now and again, I fill in on a home visit.
So home safety, a lot of my times at a home visit is just making sure that I'm validating the family to the person we're probably going to be taking care of, that the reason we need to come in and help them is because of safety. Mm-hmm. It's because of the concerns that the family has. And then I always have to say it multiple times, safety is number one. Mm-hmm. And so there's so many places in the home that just simple things can happen. Mm-hmm. And so this home safety inspection, it's really great. And basically it walks you through all of these areas of the home, and different things that you wouldn't even talk about. I think we'll just go down the list.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, the first thing it says is there a working telephone and emergency numbers that are accessible? Mm-hmm. And so I always encourage everybody, if they don't already have that, to have that piece of paper right by the phone and have all of the kids' numbers, all of the numbers that are just going,
maybe it's a neighbor. Maybe it's
exactly.
Who is your support system that if in an emergency or crisis.
Yep. In case of emergency. Mm-hmm. In case of emergency. Number two is are there functional smoke alarms? Mm-hmm. And the thing that we've always been taught is when it's time change in the spring and the fall is when you're supposed to check your batteries.
Right.
And you should, if you have a home that's got multiple levels, there should be one on every level, and I don't know that everybody's very good about that.
I think we're probably all relatively guilty of.
Just don't put one in the kitchen close to the stove.
Right. I know they make them now, so, right? Where it'll chirp or whatever. It's actually quite annoying when the battery is going dead. But also, I have to say, do not, under any circumstance, take the batteries out of your smoke detector to put them in the remote, and forget to put them back in the smoke detector.
Oh, yeah.
That stuff happens.
It does. I actually had to steal some batteries just the other day.
Oh gosh.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So then fire extinguishers are available and accessible.
Yes. And did you know that fire extinguishers, they don't last forever,
right?
Like they have to be, if it's something that can be recharged, and, or if it's, I'm assuming they make both models, right? Or both types. Don't just get your fire extinguisher and leave it in your house for 10 years and never ever check to make sure that it's still, working.
Yeah.
We learned that actually because Bailey was doing that citizen safety fire prevention, the community service that she did. And originally we wanted to actually raise money to hand out fire extinguishers, but then we learned that those fire extinguishers have to be serviced. And so we switched gears and went to smoke detectors instead. But I didn't know that about fire extinguishers.
Well, and actually they're supposed to be checked every month. Mm-hmm. I mean, who does that? I'm
Kevin
just
Lake.
Happy.
Kevin Lake in this building.
Actually, I'm always just very comforted when I see the red canister, and I'm thinking, "Oh, I'm covered."
Yeah,
but not necessarily am I?
Yes. Well, and how many people, and I'm guilty, don't even know where the fire extinguisher or extinguishers are in their home? I know here in the office.
Right. Once again, every level should have one.
Yeah. So that's why when we go through and do these home safety assessments with families, we're trying to identify these things.
Right. Right. Yep. Yes. Interior walking pathways are level, uncluttered, and have non-skid surfaces. Mm-hmm. So, you know, when I go into a home, 99% of the time, they're pretty kept up. Mm-hmm. They're pretty clean. Everybody's got their way of cleaning. Everybody's got their little areas of clutter. Mm-hmm. But there is hoarding. And so that's a big issue. The one thing that we've got to make sure of is if somebody does have stacks of the magazines and the papers and all of that, they've got to make sure that if they're using a walker or a wheelchair, that they're able to have areas that are wide enough.
Yeah, enough space to be able to
I
get
actually
through.
went into a lady's home and she immediately looked at me and she goes, "Don't you judge me. I know where everything is in this house, and if I need it, I can walk right to it." And the kids were like, "Yeah, but you know, can you get the walker through?" And so those are concerns. Mm-hmm. And she said, "I'm not a hoarder. I'm a prepper." And so I got the old explanation of what a prepper is doing. She was getting ready for an emergency, mm-hmm. and knowing where all of her stuff was.
Right.
But that did not leave it uncluttered.
Right.
And so the kids were, and then what's really interesting is a lot of people are very particular about their clutter.
Yes.
Me, I have my desk and on my own filing system. I know where everything is, but God forbid Inga has to try to find anything on my desk.
Well, and God forbid you take one piece of paper, one thin little piece of paper off of Kevin's desk.
Yeah.
He will know.
Yeah.
He'll like set his hand down. Nope, it's not high enough. Yeah. Something. Who did that? Who took something?
Don't touch my clutter. Yeah. So we just have to work around that and figure out ways just to keep people safe.
Yeah. It's important to keep those, hallways mm-hmm. or accessible, because in the event of an emergency, or if EMTs have to come in or things like that, you want to have a space that you can get in and out of.
Yeah. Yeah. Inside stairs are in good repair. Stairs are a problem regardless. So mm-hmm. hopefully, you're working with a family that just has like a rancher style house, right. and maybe you have a couple steps to get in and out, but that's it, because it's amazing how quickly stairs can become a problem. Right. And we've talked about stairs before, I know, but there's very often people think that stairs in our house are a good exercise. Mm-hmm. And really, truly, that may be true, but they're also actually probably more of a concern.
Sure, they can become a hazard. Well, even in this building, our stairs are, they've been referred to as cheater stairs, right? So they turn the corner and they're more narrow. Mm-hmm. So when the city came in, they made us build like a wood block around that to take that hazard away. Right. A home visit that I actually did yesterday was really interesting, and the people had built this house with aging in place in mind, and the thought that went into it is just incredible to me. But on their stairs, they actually, even on the very front part of them, have a different color. Oh, just because for your head, in your mind, it helps you identify like, okay, here's where the next step is. And it just kind of separates it and makes it not blend in as much, which I thought was really smart.
Huh. Yep. No, that's great. Environment is safe for effective oxygen use.
Yep.
That's a big one. A lot of people are on oxygen at home, and they need to have the little poster that when you come in, you understand that there's oxygen.
Right. Well, and even just last week or the week before, my grandma actually ended up needing oxygen. And so just because everybody is short staffed, I ended up going to the oxygen company, picking it up and then taking it. It was my first experience and it went really well. Mm-hmm. But just thinking about the tubing that hooks onto the concentrator, and now you have to be able to maneuver around your house. So there's so much to consider when you add these things into the scenario.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that some of the tubing, like you said, can be 25 feet long. Yeah. So the concentrator may be in the bedroom, but they want to be out eating in the kitchen or watching TV in the living room, and so then they've got all of this tubing that is just right around their feet at all times.
Grandma actually worked it out to where she was using her cane instead of her walker because it was easier and safer for her to do it that way than to try to navigate with the walker and the tubing. That's just based on her setup. So, I mean, people are going to do things differently, but they put a lot of thought into making sure that she could move around in the house and not get tangled up.
Right. No, that's good. That's good. So the bathroom is safe. To be honest with you, and this sounds weird, but that when I do a home visit, a lot of the time I spend is in the person's bathroom because we're just talking about everything from helping somebody toilet, getting them in and out, and then also bathing. And so looking at the bath, that's where there's a lot of safety issues. And I think I've mentioned this before, but these older houses just don't have the room to be able to take things in, like the wheelchair or any of that. And then the bathtubs, how high does that person have to lift their leg over? So we always look for handheld shower heads. We also always look to see how high is the person going to have to lift. So do you have grab bars? And how about a shower chair? Does it need to be long enough that they can sit their bottom on it and then get scooched in? And everybody's got a different scenario. Do they just have a walk-in shower? Do they just have a bathtub? And so what are we going to do, especially on days where somebody's weaker than they normally are, and you get them in a tub, you're not going to be able to get them out.
Right.
So how are we going to work around that?
Sure. Yep.
Yeah.
And like you said, every scenario is just so very, very different.
Oh, yeah.
But the cool thing is there are a lot of tools out there, resources to be able to make the bathroom as safe as possible for each individual situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Even risers on the toilets, they come in 4 to 6 inches. And then they also have the what are those? The hands?
Yeah, just the grab bars to be able
to get up and get off. It's just really a big area of safety concerns. Also in the bathroom, the rugs.
Oh, yes.
Are a problem. Rugs throughout the house are a problem.
Right.
But the rugs in the bathroom, make sure also that you have the sticky on the bottom of the tub so that it's just not so slickery. And they make them in cute little fishy patterns. You can get them and just dress up your bathtub.
There you go.
That included the raised toilet seat, the tub seat, grab bars, non-skid surface. And then temperature and ventilation are adequate. Once again, we talked about bathing and it being cold or too hot. Lighting is adequate. Lighting also is not just during the day, but at night. Is there a night light? Does this person get up in the middle of the night to go potty? Those are things that you have to think about. Electrical cords and outlets appear to be in good repair. The kitchen is safe. Working appliances, clean environment for food preparation. Then we get to medications. Medications are clearly labeled and stored in a safe manner. That's a concern always.
Yes.
You just want to make sure that you know who's in your house if there's any kind of a narcotic or anything. With us, we're non-medical. So do you want to explain that a little bit?
Well, basically, we cannot do anything that would be considered invasive. And when it comes to medications, we're really there to do reminders. We cannot dispense medications for obvious reasons. We wouldn't want to misread a label, but we can act as someone's, basically their hands. If they're unable to open the pill bottle, we can open it for them. We just cannot take the responsibility of actually dispensing and giving them according to what the label says. Because again, we wouldn't want to inadvertently make a mistake or read it incorrectly. But the cool thing is with medications, if it's an issue where the person is not able to manage their own, there are lots of different options of things that can happen. You can get pre-packaged or bubble packs. We do have a nurse that at times is able to help people with that med setup, but in terms of being non-medical, we don't have, our caregivers aren't trained or med certified to be able to do that.
Right. And last week I actually, there was a mother of one of it was our clients, and the kids were worried that she was taking too many sleeping pills. And so actually what we ended up doing was Googling what they needed on Amazon. And basically it's one of those deals where you put the meds in and then you set a timer.
Yep.
And then it will ding at 8 p.m. if that's when you're going to go to bed, and a little drawer will pop out and the pills are in there. And so she actually had been taking 2 instead of 1. And so there's a big safety concern, because at night she's becomes more of a fall risk, because not only is she groggy, but then she is actually extra groggy because she's got too much medicine in her.
Right. And well, remember the gal that we were taking care of, and through the Medicaid program, we do our serious occurrence reporting. So if something's happening, if there's a fall, we're reporting that. And then the idea, I guess, is to go back and be able to look for patterns.
Right.
And the gal was taking too much medicine. And so 5 or 6 or maybe even 7 times she had falls, we would come in and she would be on the floor. And then we were able to kind of work backwards and go, okay, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
She's not taking her medicine correctly, and this is the result. So
yeah,
but it's so neat to see the different options out there, just like you're talking about that dispenser that takes all the guesswork out of it. You just set the timer and there you go.
Yeah, and it actually works for multiple ways, just to know that if somebody happens to think 1 is good, so 2 must be better. Yeah,
right.
Sometimes that's a thing. And so you don't want to have to worry about that.
Right.
Oh boy. So then the next topic on this sheet is actually pets. Pets are wonderful, but they can actually be difficult. Right. I mean, I have a kitty right now that whenever I go out and do chores, she just attacks my feet. And man, I just, you have to be really careful, because she just wants her loving, but she's winding around my feet. And I'm carrying a sack or something, and it's a little concerning. And that's me, an able-bodied person. So if you have your dog come jump on you, but you're a little unstable, you could really have a problem.
Right. I did a home visit, I don't know, it was a couple months ago anyway, and the family had 2 cats, and they were so sweet, and the personalities were just wonderful. Very, very lovey. I happen to be a cat person and a dog person and a sheep person and a cat person. I mean, all of the animals. But anyway, I was so nervous because the cats were just walking in and around the walker of this lady that I was doing the home visit with. And it's what they're used to. It's what they've been living like. But internally, I'm just freaking out because this is a huge, huge problem.
Yeah.
Or could potentially be a huge problem. Anyway, just making sure, and especially like in caregiving situations, even, we've had a situation where a client has a super, super protective dog.
Oh, yeah.
And so it can actually be a problem for the caregivers, so we gotta, if that's the case, the dog needs to be put up when the caregiver is visiting. Some people have allergies to animals, and, maybe they can be somewhere that the animal is, they just can't be touching it. So different things, but we usually talk about that at the home visit.
Yeah.
Try to identify, if it's something that needs to be put away or,
so many different things to consider.
yes.
The driveway outside, the sidewalk, the steps, the porch are level. That is really difficult for somebody that needs to get in and out to go to the doctor. If it snows, how is it going to get shoveled? All of those things are big concerns. Steps outside the house are safe. Then the overall environment is adequately sanitary for provision of care. I remember one time way back when there was a gentleman that he was a hoarder, and I tell you, they just literally had to scoop stuff out and get it. They got it beautifully nice and clean, and unfortunately, that was the way he chose to live. So, within a month, it was up to his knees again, and that was his deal, and it was very difficult to try to make him understand that it wasn't probably a great thing.
Right. Well, and you think about in the kitchen, we've had clients where they'll make a can of beans or something and then leave it out for 3 days and just eat off of it. And, those are things that can cause pretty big problems.
Yeah, that reminds me of the one gentleman that he did not have a sense of smell anymore. And if the butter was there and it was still covered in any kind of green because it was moldy, he'd still eat it.
Right.
And his daughter-in-law was having a fit, and she lived in Alaska. So she was like, please check the butter. So they had obviously had situations with him before, but that's a really good point, is not just outside the kitchen, but inside all of that. Yeah. So we do an assessment, like I said, and we look at the different issues. Something that wasn't brought up was like cabinet latches. If somebody uses a wheelchair, and are they in place or do they need to be obtained?
Right.
And so we leave this, if we don't use this for a specific reason, we leave this as a tool for our clients and their family to really think about. But the other thing that wasn't listed was, and we talked about it a little bit, was rugs. Everybody's got their special rug, their antique rug that's beautiful. But think about the edges. Is it going to catch a toe? Is it going to catch the wheel on the walker? Just a nanosecond can really be a problem.
Yep.
Really be a problem.
Yep. Well, and as we kind of move into this, some top 10 tips for home safety, removing fall hazards is number one on the list. And that's those rugs, and that's those stacks of newspapers and magazines and, boxes that don't get put away, or, it can really be anything, but you just need to be super, super conscious of what the walkways look like and move those fall hazards before they become an issue.
Yep. Keeping the emergency numbers handy, like we were talking about. And the phone is a big deal, because can somebody truly know how to use a phone?
Right.
Smartphones, they're hard.
Yes.
And if you have any cognitive issues, we have some people that still use a flip phone or a Cricket, Jitterbug, yep. All of those. And hopefully the family can go ahead and just get those numbers already put in there. Right. Because we're talking about senses where there's not as good an eyesight, just even mobility. If you have arthritis, to even use a phone and poke numbers, that's a big chore.
Well, and some people, we have a client that really struggles to hear on the phone. So he has some type of an adaptive equipment that goes onto his phone to help him be able to hear better. But there's so many options out there. You can get phones with giant numbers to dial in. You can get like you were saying, there's a smartphone, but there's all the way down to like the Jitterbug. You just pre-program a few things and then it's just a click of a button. And if a phone is not something that someone is going to be able to use, they can use those lifeline buttons to have on their person at all times. And those can be set up to either call directly to 911 or call to whoever your what is the word I'm looking for?
Whoever's going to respond.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Your emergency contact. Yeah. That's what I was looking for.
My grandma, she likes to have things that are sparkly and pretty, right?
Yes.
And so she did not want to have one of those lifeline things on because it just was ugly.
Sure.
And so I was like, well, do we have to bedazzle it?
Yes.
What's it going to take to be able to get you? Because she loved to take those tubs.
Yes.
Get in there and get a hot tub. But there were days she couldn't get out without a little bit of help. And, you know, if somebody didn't check on her every day, she could be in there for a good long time.
Yeah, that would not be fun.
Yeah, so it was lecture time. I don't think she ever did listen to me. But
yeah,
you got to try.
That you do. Again, talking about protecting against fires, just this, make sure that you have working smoke detectors and the carbon monoxide detectors and fire extinguishers, all of those safety things. Right. Make sure you know where they are. Be careful if you're using space heaters.
Oh, boy.
Those can be a really big problem.
Yeah, because a lot of them sometimes use an extension cord.
Yes.
And that even brings in more, just like that tubing for the oxygen. There's more trip hazards.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then again, talking about that safe bathroom. And basically, you just have to look at what you have and make the best decisions that you can to, you know, either add grab bars or do the handheld type things. If you need to get a bath bench or a shower chair in there, that can be done. Risers on the toilets. There's pretty much a solution for everything.
Yeah, I actually, I know I've told this story before, but this is actually a good time to say it again. Mm-hmm. There was a gentleman that was going to be coming home soon from the hospital, and so the kids had me come look at the house real quick. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that very much concerned me was that the bathroom door went in.
Yes.
And it was tighter there. And I said, if he fell, he's going to fall against that door and you'll never get it. Mm-hmm. Never get it. So they actually took the door off. And he wasn't very impressed, but it was a huge safety thing.
Yeah, that was very, very smart to do.
So, you know, later on, if he proved that he's not a fall risk, you know, that you can go back on. But,
sure. You know, the other thing that I forgot to say, if you are working with someone that has Alzheimer's or dementia, removing the bathroom mirror is something that you can do because they may look in the mirror and it may be an unfamiliar face to them. Mm-hmm. So consider that, or just, you know, maybe taping it up, putting something over the top of it. But that's obviously in a situation where there's some type of a cognitive decline.
True.
Or if they're piddle dinkers and you can't get them to brush their teeth because they're too busy making faces at themselves in the mirror. Oh, wait, no, that's a kid thing.
That's a kid thing. So, you do have to consider the disease process that they're going through. Access when you're in the bedroom. Once again, the other thing to think about is like your sheets and your bedding. Is it going to be a thing where you could catch your toe?
Yes, mine is. I have done that before.
I just did it the other day. I was not happy about it. I stubbed my toe. Oh, it made me mad. Yeah. Yes. Lighting, we talked about it. And night lights or, you know, whatever it takes, leaving a light on in the hallway. That's a big deal. The other thing that I did is I recommended to somebody the other day about their mother who was getting up several times a night to potty. And I said, well, consider putting a commode right next to the bed. Mm-hmm. And then what we could do is that in the morning, just put it in the closet or something so it's not there all the time.
Right.
But this would be how many less steps to worry about mom during the middle of the night is if she gets up, uses a potty, then just turns around and goes right back to bed instead of going all the way to wherever the bathroom is situated. Right.
You know, I did a home visit last night, and one part of the biggest part of the concern is those trips to the bathroom in the middle of the night.
Yep.
And what we talked about a lot is how hard it is to break your routine. Right? You wake up in the middle of the night, you're feeling urgent because you got to go to the bathroom and you've just always jumped out of bed and run to the bathroom, right? But as you have a decline, or maybe it takes you a little bit longer to get everything working together, or maybe your legs are weak for whatever reason, or maybe there's neuropathy and you know, trying to slow down and retrain yourself to either use a urinal or use a commode, it can be kind of a big deal. And you have to really consider that. just retraining yourself or helping whoever the person is to retrain themselves. And I think there's a dignity thing that goes along with it too. You know, you just want to be able to get out of bed and go to the bathroom. But I like what you were talking about, where you're putting that, you know, have that available for the middle of the night, but then during the day, just put it away.
Yeah. Yep. It doesn't have to be in their face at all times, but it's there for them. One of the things that also is a consideration for people that are moving into like the bedrooms, talking like we are, when they get up and they change from laying to standing really fast, there's going to be a drop or a spike in your blood pressure. So the one thing that people have to do is learn how to go slow to go fast.
Yes. Yep.
And so get over to the edge of the bed, sit there for a second, and to just make sure that you've feel safe. If you go to stand up, just make sure it's when you know that you're safe.
Right.
But a lot of people have a problem with a pressure drop.
I'm just thinking about myself and the trips that I make to the bathroom in the middle of the night. I'm asleep for all of it, I'm sure. I feel like I'm like a rocket, just up and in the bathroom and back to bed. Yeah, I don't know. That's going to be a problem forever, whoever has to take care of me.
And we'll be talking to you about your impulse behaviors. And we'll say, Inga, are you being slow and safe?
Yes. No.
Because if you fall.
Well, I'm so mad because it's cold when you get out of bed
in
the middle of the night. And so I just want to be as fast as I can about it. It's a terrible routine that I'm in, and someone will have to break me of it later.
Well, and the other thing is my problem is I just lay there till I just think I'm going to bust. So I have to get up.
Yes.
If
Also
I would have just done that 5 minutes earlier, then I wouldn't have been in such a hurry to get to the potty.
And why is that? Because I do the same thing. So you like lay there in misery for 10 minutes because you just don't want to get up and go to the bathroom. Like, this is silly. Very silly.
It's a thing, though. It is a thing.
Good to know I'm not alone.
Yeah, no, not at all. So the lighting, the kitchen we've talked about, the stairs.
Yep. So back to the kitchen a little bit, and I'm guilty of this too at home, is making or paying attention to the like use by dates or expiration dates. So that is something that you want to be aware of, and some people are better at it than others. But you know, don't leave things in the refrigerator, you know, especially like you were talking about the gentleman that had that decreased smell or none at all. So he's not going to know that things have gone bad in there. So somebody's got to be paying attention to that and get rid of the things. Yep.
Yes, but I got to tell you, I've had some pretty impressive science projects in there when I finally got to the back of the fridge.
Ooh.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yes.
Do you play the game of like, what was this when it first started out?
Oh, yeah. Yes, for sure. Oh, and you brought up something else about the kitchen. What in the world was it? I just lost it. There's danger in every place that we are. Yes. You know, we're most comfortable in our homes, but there are also little things that can be very dangerous. Sharp knives, that type of thing. You have to be very careful. What it was ovens. And if somebody, how often have we had clients because they are unable to cook for themselves anymore because they'll leave that water boiling, and then when it's done boiling, it's still on the hot, you know, it's still on high, and it's all boiled out, and there goes your alarms and everything if you have those set up. So a lot of times people just cannot cook for themselves anymore.
Haven't we had situations where basically like the family will like take the fuse out or something so that the oven is not, so that the person can't use it for fear of leaving a burner on or you know, burning themselves or, you know, starting a fire. Yeah. So there's things that you can do, definitely.
Yeah. And so in a case like that where you're just trying to figure out how to do these, call your agencies and talk to them, or find a group to visit with and just say, how did you deal with this? Right. Because like you said, there's so many ways to skin a cat.
Yes. I don't want to do any of those. I don't want to do any of the ways of skinning a cat.
Oh, I do. Your cat is torturing me right now. She's in the window and she wants to come in.
so bad.
I'm looking at her.
I'm just ignoring her.
Yeah, I can't. So remaining safe in the home. Just review common sense safety measures with your loved one. And says it can be tempting to open door to someone who looks nice, but beware. Here are some other things to do. Install a peephole for your senior's front door. Do not open the door to seniors when you're home alone. Always keep your windows and doors locked. Install a mail slot in the front door to prevent mail theft. Do not agree to any telephone offers. That's a big one.
That's a huge one.
Yeah. And do not believe the caller's claims that a family member is in danger. Actually, Patsy did that one time. She finally stopped long enough to call me because she had gotten a call that one of my daughters was in jail. And so they needed money to bail her out. And Patsy went into Grandma Bear mode, and she was going to get her kid out of jail. And I finally somehow got a whiff of it, and I called her. I go, Patsy, she's not in jail. Somebody's trying to take your money.
Yeah.
And so she gave me the number, and I was not very nice to those people because they actually answered the phone.
I know. It's sad, actually, how many of those scams go on, and how many people will fall for them. And then I think people get embarrassed when they've been taken advantage of, and then they don't want to talk about it, or they don't want to admit that something has happened. But that's those people. I if I get those calls, I play along with it. And right up to the point that I ask them, like, how do you sleep at night? Honestly, how can you live with yourself?
I love
trying
that.
to take advantage of people.
Yeah.
That's when they usually hang up.
They don't want to
I've never gotten an answer.
Yeah, no. So the key is checking in on your person frequently.
Yes.
Some people that live far away, that's what they hire us to do.
Sure.
Is that they're happy to know that we're going in and we're laying eyes on them. But if it's somebody that doesn't need 24/7 care, what are the other opportunities where somebody can come in and check? You know, like we've talked before, Meals on Wheels has a great way of checking on somebody at noon. And so it's, you know, how many times do you have to check on that person?
Right.
And then also consider, if you're that worried, maybe we need to consider more home care or other options for them.
Yep. It really does seem like it comes back to a lot of the same basic things.
It does.
You know, try to prevent falls, keep your home secure, make sure that you have fire safety in place.
Yep. Food issues.
Yep.
One that we didn't talk about is vehicles, driving. And that could be a whole topic. And maybe that's what we'll do someday, is talking about people that are driving, that they're getting to the point that maybe they shouldn't. I'll never forget one gentleman. He had worked in the woods his whole life. He was he was the boss, and he ran an amazing business. But when he got to the point that he shouldn't drive anymore, first off, we tried to hide the keys, but lo and behold, he had 100 other pairs, so that didn't work. So then we actually took unhooked the batteries. And then at one time we had to take out a spark plug, but this was all with the family knowing, because we all had to make the plan how to keep him off. So one day we ticked him off so bad. I'll never forget the time I was in the office and the caregiver called me. She goes, he's driving down the road in his lawnmower. And all I could envision was her just huffing and puffing, following him all the way down. And so then we had to figure out what to do to disable the lawnmower. But he was hell-bent on going to get coffee with the boys. And I can appreciate, that was his thing. That was his independence, but he was not safe. So that's going to be another tough topic to talk about someday.
That is a rough one.
Yeah. So one time we had a special speaker talk, and it was a guy that did 911.
Fire department.
Fire department, yep. And
the 911 guys.
Those guys. And so they said in a perfect world, people would have an emergency medical information sheet. And so this is another tool that we have in our home visit packets. And it's very simple, and everybody should have one. There's the general information, emergency health records, emergency contact info, and then have you ever been treated for any of these things, from what are your allergies, what are your medications, who can we call in case of emergency.
And basically it was designed, and we give it to our clients as a tool that they can fill out and then fold up, They can fold it in a way that it just still shows the emergency medical information, and then put it in a place, maybe it's the refrigerator, or maybe it's on the dining room table, somewhere that if there is a crisis and these emergency medical people come into the home, they can quickly reference this information and know how to help you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's got to be the hardest part of their job, is just not knowing when somebody's unable to speak for themselves.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, and then they have those vial of life. It's a very similar concept, but those are very, very common, and people like to use them a lot.
Yeah, it's just a good thing to do. I mean, and because essentially, if you are having to call 911, right, we're already in crisis. There's some type of an emergency happening.
Yep.
So if this information is already put together and easy and accessible for these personnel to access, it's just going to make the experience hopefully better.
Right.
But,
right.
Yeah. Anyway.
There is a pamphlet, and there's so much stuff, once again, on the internet. We've talked about that. But this one is called
Don't believe everything that you read on the internet.
Home Safe Home. This one you can believe.
Okay.
And so it just talks about, statistics about if you are 65 or older, you have a 1 in 3 chance of falling this year. In fact, falls are the 6th leading cause of death from injury in people 65 and older, and the risk for falling increases with age. So there's statistics, there's things for your personal plan. You need to know the side effects of your medications. Are you getting regular exercise? Use it or lose it. If you're not moving around, your legs will get weak. Get a yearly eye exam. You tell the doctor or tell somebody if you did fall.
Yes, and that's where I think people get scared. They don't want to share that information because they're worried that they're going to have to go to the hospital, or that, they'll go to the hospital and they won't be able to come home, but it is really important, because if you talk about the fall and can identify the cause of the fall, then maybe you can do something to mitigate that and stop it from happening again.
We had that situation where there was a little lady that she actually told the caregiver, she said, "Oh, I fell the other day, but don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody." But she knew she needed to tell somebody, but she didn't want everybody to know. And so then the second time that happened, the caregiver did call me and say, "Hey, she's been falling." And so I just nonchalantly called the daughter and said, "Hey, we need to check on this. We're seeing more and more of a pattern of falls." And so they actually took mother to the doctor, and they were able to adjust her medications, and she was able to get back to her baseline. But thankfully she told somebody, and thankfully our caregiver was smart enough to know that they needed to report that. Those people are our eyes and ears in the field. So anyway, these are really great things available out on the internet for checklists, and just keeping your people safe at home.
Yep.
Yeah.
Easy to do. And just, I guess the other thing is you have to stay on it, right?
Yeah.
So you don't just check the smoke detector once and then never check it again, right? Make it a priority, or make it a habit, a routine, to just make sure everything's in order. Your light bulbs are all fresh. That ticks me off. My daughter just moved away to college. I went into her bathroom and there was one light bulb out of 40 that was working. I'm like, how can you see anything in here at all? So then I did what any rational mom would do. And I got the light bulbs and climbed up on the count. Do not do any of these things as we're talking about home safety. I know. I was thinking about actually in the kitchen cupboards where things are on a shelf that's too high for me because I happen to be pretty on the short side. I'll climb up on the counter. I'm like, that is terrible. Don't do that.
Oh,
that's awful. Oh, but it'll just be quick. I'll just jump up there real quick and, don't do that.
Oh, we had a lady that she actually there. It was in an older farmhouse, and they had the all of the vegetables and everything were in the cellar. But to get to the cellar was this really old wooden ladder.
Oh boy!
But she would go down there.
Oof.
And the kids would know she would, because all the stuff that was down there, then they'd come and visit, and there would be this can of cherries or whatever. And they'd go, "Mother, where'd those come from?" "Well, they were just here." "No, you have been sneaking to the basement and
into the cellar.
But it was really rickety. It was very scary. And they had to figure out how to just truly get everything out of there that was of any import, and then just close it up so she wouldn't sneak down there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you think, oh, it'll be fine. I'll just do it this one time.
I've done it 100 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I keep my canned stuff. But then the other concern was that a lot of her canned stuff got really, really old.
Yep.
And so that home canned stuff doesn't have the expiration date,
right,
like the new stuff.
Right.
And they were very worried. I mean, I think botulism is still a thing, right?
I would think so.
Yeah.
I don't want to try for it, though.
No.
All right. Well, I guess that we've touched on, the primary safety concerns. Mm-hmm. Again and again and again. We went over them many times. Yep. So, listeners, you should now know. But yeah, you actually had some grandma sayings, didn't you? Grandpa sayings.
I did. Our friend Jenna, she gave us some sayings that her dad said, and I had to actually look a couple of them up because he would say "heavens to Murgatroyd."
I love that.
Like, what is a Murgatroyd? So anyway, evidently it's a cry of surprise.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I remember hearing that. I don't remember who said it, but I have heard that before.
Well, back in 1959, Snagglepuss was the one. It was a cartoon.
Okay.
And he would say the heavens to Murgatroyd. So I thought that was adorable. And then the other one that he said is dollars to donuts. And I'm thinking, well, I'm not quite sure what that means either, but they actually had it. You Google it. And it said dollars to donuts. It's what we say when we're really sure of ourselves. We're so confident that we're making a bet and we're betting something valuable against something that's worth less. If I'm wrong, I'll pay you money. If you're wrong, just give me a pastry.
Nice. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I love to hear them explained because I've heard those sayings before, but
I didn't think it would really be explained. It would just be something that you never could find out the true meaning, but it was actually there.
There you go. Cool. Well, I think when you had said the verse of the week, I forgot to ask our listeners to please submit those verses to us. And you can do that at thecaregivenpodcast@gmail.com. Again, that is the caregivenpodcast@gmail.com. And if you're enjoying these podcasts, please go and subscribe. You can subscribe on Spotify or Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. You can also watch all of this glory on the YouTube if you elect to do that. Please leave us a review. We prefer the positive reviews. Actually, that's all we're accepting. So positive reviews, and share us with your friends. Join us on the Apaga Care and Share group. Is there anywhere else they can find us? Oh, the TikTok. Yep. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Instagram.
You got it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So really on that Apaga Care and Share, we want to really build that up.
Right.
I know I've talked about it before, but what it is we just want people to get in there and talk about, hey, this is going on with my parent and I don't quite know what to do about it. So somebody that's had that same situation can get in there, and hearing from your peers, it's very, very validating that you're not going crazy in a difficult situation. Right. And it'll also help you know that you're not the only one. Right. And sometimes that's all you need for mental peace.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So join us. Email us. Send us your grandma or grandpa sayings, your verses, anything fun that you would like us to share. Go ahead and email that to the caregivenpodcast@gmail.com. And I think that's it. I think it's peace out, Girl Scouts.
Yeah. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.